Ajay Bansal with us. And he's a senior legal professional with over 3 decades of experience, international exposure since 1991. Committed to justice and public service, he has held key roles including former additional Advocate General for Punjab and Haryana, former Senior Central Government Counsel, and Standing Counsel for NDMC at the Supreme Court of India. A certified mediator, he remains actively engaged in public service, policy advisory, youth leadership, and civic education. So, without further delay, we will start with the session. And yeah, so you can start.
Yes, thank you, Dhruv. Thank you so much for inviting me on your webinar. Though this is our first interaction, but it was very nice talking to you, Dhruv. And I thank you, the entire team. Hmm. So today, I don't know the participants, but I'm told most of the participants are either final year law students or some young lawyers, but those who are joining our esteemed profession. So I would start on the topic of negotiation. Thank you, everybody. Dear future leaders of legal profession, esteemed organizers, iLegal teammates, and my fellow advocates, good evening and namaskar. It is my pleasure to be here today to discuss a topic. This is not just a cornerstone of your legal practice, but a fundamental aspect of human existence: negotiation. So I start with the philosophical roots of conflict and negotiation, because every negotiation has got some philosophical roots. So just a little background, which to my mind appears to be, before we delve into the strategies and tactics you people use in the courtrooms or people in the boardrooms or anywhere. So I wish to start with more profound question. Why do we need to negotiate in the first place? Where does conflict truly come from? So ancient wisdom tells us that every human being is fundamentally the same. We all are composed of the same 5 universal elements, that is the Panch Tattva: Prithvi, Jal, Vayu, Agni, Akash, that is earth, water, air, fire, and space. This is our shared foundation, our grand communality. So it is the essence of our shared humanity. But if we all are made of the same core elements, then why are we so different? The answer lies in our perception and our actions. Each of us is equipped with what are called 5 Gyanendriya, our 5 senses of organ that perceive the world, and 5 Karmendriyas, our 5 organs of action that allows us to interact with the world. So when we possess all these faculties, how they function within each of us, it's entirely unique for each and every one of you, for me. What my eyes sees an event one way, yours may see it another way, in another angle. My mind processes the information based on my life expectations, my life experiences, and your mind possesses or processes it based on your experiences. So this is what makes every individual a separate and distinct entity. And right there, in this beautiful, complex uniqueness, is the birthplace of conflict. When my thought processes, driven by my senses and actions, differs from yours, it gives rise to a differences of opinion. So I've got different of opinion. You have got different opinions. So of the same thing, same quality, everything. So this can be small, this can be large. It can lead to mutual respect for our differences or it can fester into arguments, disputes, and ultimately conflict arising to the litigation that will define your careers, because you are all going to be future bright counsels. So this is precisely why negotiation is so crucial. So it is the essential human skill for bridging the gap between our different realities. And we learn it long before we ever open a law book. Think about it, you all, as a child, must have negotiated with your parents for more play time instead of study time, right? Or you must have negotiated with your siblings, brothers, sisters over who got the better piece of cake or better things to play. So you have learned to persuade, to compromise, to find common ground because of differences in opinion, differences in thoughts and habits, even within your own family from the days of your childhood. So here is the negotiation. So as we proceed today, I want you to hold this idea. Negotiation is not just a legal technique, it is the primary tool we have to manage the inevitable conflicts that arises from our shared yet wonderfully different human nature. It is the art of turning conflict into consensus. So, what is the core concept of negotiation? Building the foundation. So, what exactly in negotiation in a professional context, which you all will be doing in your day to day life? My this 2 days webinar or whatever you call it, it defines negotiation. How? This is the art and science of reaching an agreement between the parties with different needs, parties with different needs, different interests, different viewpoints. How? Through dialogue, persuasion, communication, and collaboration. This is most important, collaboration. So, to master this art, you must first understand its fundamental forms. Broadly, negotiation falls into two categories. It can be mixed in the third category when we mix both. Firstly, I call it distributive negotiation. Think of this when there is a fixed pie scenario. That is, there are limited resources, and the goal is to claim as much as for your client as possible. So it's a win lose situation. A classic example is negotiating the settlement amount in a personal injury case. There is a fixed amount of money on the table, and every dollar your client gets is a dollar the other side loses. So it is often adversarial and focused on a single issue. Then the second, which is far more sophisticated, that is integrative negotiation. This is where we expand the pie. It is a win-win scenario where the goal is not to divide a fixed resource, but to create a new value by addressing the underlying interests of all the parties. For example, imagine you are handling a dispute between two founders of a startup. So, how a distributive approach would work? A distributive approach would be a fight over who buys whom out. But an integrative approach would be to explore their underlying interests. Perhaps one founder wants a creative control, while the other, he wants a reduced operational role, but financial security. The solution could be new corporate structure that gives both what they truly want. So a win-win outcome for both. that is a simple buyout could never achieve. So this requires collaboration and creativity. So how to go for this? So to navigate either type of negotiations, you must understand its natural flow. The process generally flows number of stages. I call it key skills for a successful negotiation. This is very important for all of us when we try to be a negotiator, when we go for negotiations. The first key skill to my mind is preparation. If I tell you, if anybody tells you, you go and appear in an examination of a particular subject or anything which you have not even read, don't know anything, so would you be able to do justice to your examinations? No. So key skill is preparation. How it is to prepare in negotiation? We must research and understand the facts, interest of the parties, goal of the parties. After doing an intensive research, then we must develop a clear strategy and set our objectives. How to do? So I'm giving you broad lines. Then second skill to my mind is active listening. We must focus on understanding the other party's perspective, what they want. Because unless and until we hear them with patience, we won't be able to know what they actually want. Then at the same time, active listening, the another ingredient is we have to build rapport with the parties. We have to build trust, and trust can be achieved by showing, very important, empathy with the parties. Only then they come close to you. And then the third ingredient, the skill, is communication. So communication, because unless and until we have an effective communication, the things won't be clear. So what to do? Articulate your points very clearly and persuasively, so that you make the things clear, the other party makes the thing clear, both are very clear to each other. Use verbal and non-verbal cues effectively wherever required. And then we come to the fourth skill, which is problem solving. We have to keep in mind how to solve the problem. For that, what is required? We have to identify common areas, common interests, and explore creative solutions. We have to think out of box solutions. What is the aim? Take an aim for outcome that satisfy both the parties or all the parties. If there are more than two parties, that satisfies need of all the parties. Then the another skill which is equally important is emotional intelligence. Maximum disputes fails because of non taking care of these kind of emotions. So we must learn how to manage the emotions. Not only our emotions, but the party's emotions. We have to understand the emotions of the other parties. And at the same time, when they are bursting, we have to keep our emotions. We have to remain calm and composed under all kind of pressures. And similarly, we have to ensure the parties are also composed. Then another skill, which is sixth, adaptability. What is adaptability? Stay flexible and always open to new ideas. Negotiation means it's not an adjudication. We are open to every ideas. Sometimes new ideas emerge and new things emerge to resolve the or remove the conflicts, and accordingly adjust the strategies as per the situation, whatever situation evolves. So we have to be adaptable. Keep in mind that. Then seventh is the patience and persistence or perseverance. Very important. We must recognize that negotiation is often a time-intensive process. So we have to remain focused, determined to achieve our goal. So you must remain determined to achieve your goal. Then these are the key skills, and broadly, because if we see the stages of negotiation, right? So this will cover in the same fashion. So I just quickly give you the stages. Firstly, again, preparation. But what is there? Understand your goals, research, gather information, and set your clear objectives. Very important, right? Then secondly is opening. Initiate dialogue. Establish a positive note with the parties, and you must know how to initiate the things. Define the scope and process of negotiation, because we have to set our objectives clear. Scope has to be made clear, what is required and what will be the process. Then comes the exploration. Exchange information. That's, and what is exploration? There are two components: exchange information, clarify position, identify interests, and build trust and seek common grounds. Then the another stage is bargaining. How does it start? Present proposals, make concessions and counter offers, then aim to reach a mutually beneficial agreement, which is beneficial for both. So both the parties are agreeable. You are seeing today the conflicts between the countries, between the nations. So we need to be very well prepared for this. So then comes the closing, because bargaining is important. Then comes the closing. If that is done, then how to finalize the terms, confirm agreements, documents outcomes. What is required in that? Ensure clarity. While closing, ensure clarity and commitment from all the parties, so that there is no ambiguity. Once you prepare the documents, it is very, very clear, because it has to be implemented. Then next comes implementation, because then you have to execute the agreed terms and as well as monitor the compliances. Address any misunderstandings or conflicts properly or promptly. Right? So these are the stages of negotiation. What are the? There are still certain barriers, right? So barriers, as you have seen the stages, as you have seen the key skills. So the barriers, one of the major barrier to my mind comes non-preparedness. If we don't do our research properly and see all these things, so then that is a big barrier for a successful negotiation. Then secondly, lack of trust and confidence that we have to create. And then another, as we have spoken earlier, about empathy. If there is a lack of empathy in a negotiator, that is also a problem. Then cultural barriers. Even in India, there are three parties. One belongs to Chennai, another belongs to Punjab, and another belongs to some other state, maybe Mumbai. All have different cultures, different. So we have to keep in mind their cultural backgrounds, their way of workings, everything to come out of these barriers, which is covered in all our stages, key skills, and it can be done. So I would like to give you a quote for the when you're going for negotiations. With persuasion, one can win over good people. With firmness, one can handle the wicked. A mix of both ensures success in all kind of negotiations. So relevance over here is a successful negotiation requires a balance of diplomacy and firmness. Right? And there is very close to my heart, there is a case which is very nicely negotiated. So I must share with you a case study, which because you are otherwise all going to be lawyers. So you have to study all the times cases also, the precedents. So to illustrate how deeply negotiation, personality, and composure can influence an outcome, let me turn to a powerful example from the corporate world, the Disney and Pixar merger. That is the merger of Disney and Pixar, which happened in 2006, finalized. You all must have heard about Disney, I'm sure, because you're all young lawyers, going to be the young lawyers, or some of them are lawyers. Must have heard about Disney, everybody. So Disney is a great company, big company, corporate culture. What has happened? I just share with you the facts. Acquisition of Pixar animation by Walt Disney is an excellent example of effective and reflective negotiation. It has demonstrated how leaders used preparation, emotional intelligence, communication, strategy, and reflection to achieve a win-win outcome in a very high-stake business deal. Many of us will know that Disney and Pixar had collaborated for years, producing iconic films such as the famous Toy Story and Finding Nemo. And on the surface, this appeared to be a successful partnership. But behind closed doors, the relationship was deteriorating. Why? Pixar felt creatively constrained and overshadowed by Disney's corporate structure, a big company. So by the early 2000s, Disney's relationship with Pixar had become strained, and Pixar, at that point of time, under Steve Jobs' leadership, they produced blockbusters which are very hits, as I told you, Toy Story and Finding Nemo, which significantly boosted Disney's brand worldwide. However, contractual disagreements and creative conflict risk ending their partnership. So, recognizing the value Pixar brought to the business of Disney, Disney negotiated to acquire the studios. In 2006, it was finalized for, at that point of time, $7.4 billion, which was a huge for Pixar even at that point of time. But what are the key abilities which were used for successful negotiation? This is very important for all of you to learn. Preparedness and planning. Disney analyzed its declining animation performance and they identified Pixar's innovative culture and talent as a critical to revitalizing its brand. So the team recognized Pixar's creative processes. It was a, they have the unique culture of creativeness. So Disney, which was a leader in the distribution, marketing, and has got a global reach. And Pixar, Steve Jobs as CEO, he prepared a strong negotiating position, emphasizing Pixar's independence and its unique culture as non-negotiable asset. And he publicly declared that he wanted to end the relationship. The partnership had reached a point where negotiation no longer seemed possible. End of the things. So here comes the CEO of the Disney was changed. So here comes the key aspect which we have noted: emotional intelligence. Disney's CEO Bob Iger, he really demonstrated emotional intelligence by acknowledging past mistakes, and he expressed genuine desire to rebuild the trust. And Steve Jobs also empathized with Disney because they need to rejuvenate its brand, but remained firm on protecting Pixar's identity, creative contents, creative processes, and its employees. So here is the another feature of communication skill. How it happened? There was transparent dialogue. Firstly, open discussions, engagement with open mind. Steve emphasized importance of creative freedom, while Disney CEO Igor assured him Pixar would remain an autonomous entity so far as its creative contents are concerned, because they wanted to have this autonomous on the creativity of the contents. So, what is the collaboration? Disney focused on fostering a collaborative atmosphere rather than an adversarial. So, reducing tension and building trust, rapport. So, behind this, there was a strategic thinking, win win approach. Disney proposed a structure where Pixar retained creative autonomy while benefiting from Disney's distribution and marketing powers. So, need of both the parties were addressed. That was the strategic thinking. And Disney has a long-term vision. They envisioned not just financial but cultural revitalization through Pixar's innovative approach to animation. Right? Pixar has got an innovative approach. So, what is the ethical approach here? Disney prioritized fairness and transparency throughout the negotiations, ensuring Pixar simply felt secure about their future under Disney's ownership. So they felt, yes, we will be secure under Disney's ownership. So what is the reflective component? Because post-negotiation evaluation, preparedness, as I told you, right? Disney's reflection, it's declining animation quality, and they recognized need of creative rejuvenation, which motivated acquisition at such a huge price. And Pixar's potential to amplify its global reach while safeguarding its culture and retaining independence in creative contents. So, what a reflective component is post negotiation evaluation and learning from past mistakes. Still, there were barriers, as we have spoken and discussed in the previous session, cultural differences. Right? What is the cultural difference over here? Disney challenge, big challenge. Disney has a corporate culture which clashed with Pixar's creative driven environment. A small time. So, solution: Disney agreed to maintain Pixar's independence, allowing its leaders Ed Catmull and John Lester to manage the operations for Disney. So, what is the power dynamic over here? What is the power dynamic? Challenge. Disney is the larger company and it could have easily imposed its will. No, no, we will do like this. But what had happened? While negotiating solution provided, Disney adopted a partnership approach. They recognized Pixar's contribution as equal, though a small company. So even they considered financial valuation. There was a challenge. Pixar's valuation was high, leading to concerns about overpaying. Again, solution. Disney focused on long-term value Pixar would bring through its creative innovation for the Disney. They will have a better market, better things. So, dear friends, what is the outcome from this example? So, negotiation resulted in a landmark acquisition. Disney purchased Pixar for 7.4 billion in stock, and Pixar retained its unique and autonomy with its leader taking leadership roles in Disney's animation division. And Disney produced various hits like Frozen, Zootopia, and Encanto, many more. So Disney Pixar case teaches us that behind every dispute, whether personal, legal, or corporate, there lies fears, identities, aspirations, and emotional truths that cannot be ignored. People negotiate from emotion first and logic second. A skilled negotiator knows how to address both, how to claim the emotion so the logic can finally emerge. So, this case highlights the power of collaboration, strategic thinking, reflection in achieving a successful negotiation because the result was extraordinary. The merger not only succeeded but led to one of the most productive periods in modern animation. Disney's animation's revival, Pixar's continued creative freedom, and the deep mutual respect between two companies, they all stem from the style of negotiation that guided the agreements. The conflict was not resolved by overpowering the other side, but by understanding the needs of each other. It is a reminder for all of us. When people feel respected, understood, then negotiation becomes collaboration. And collaboration produces results that neither side could have achieved alone. So, dear friends, the work we do is more than just a profession, it is a calling. We are stewards of dialogue in a world that is increasingly polarized. By mastering the deeper arts of negotiation, by grounding ourselves in principle, leading with emotional intelligence, courageously breaking impasse, and fostering creative solutions, we do more than resolve individual disputes. The work is much, much more significant. As a negotiator, we build bridges, we repair relationships, we prove that even in the face of profound disagreement, there is always a path to understanding and mutual respect for each other. So, I have given you the broad perspective of the negotiation. While you all are in the field of law and you will keep learning much more. With my little bit knowledge, I've experienced whatever has come to my path of understanding while doing my day-to-day courses, duties, dealing with my clients, or working for the companies. So I thank you for all of you for your unwavering commitment to this vital work. And I would like to say few lines before I close, which has been said by senior most persons, even the Chief Justice of India. I just say to you, तारीख पे तारीख आती रहे, हौसला कभी कम ना हो, एक दिन वही चमकेगा जिसकी मेहनत कभी कम ना हो. कल की जीत का रास्ता आज की मेहनत से ही बनता है. वक्त लगता है वकालत में, पर नाम जरूर चमकता है. फ्रेंड्स, argument win cases, but preparations wins arguments. Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice Suryakant has said, I quote, fear has no place where preparation is strong. So preparation is very, very important for each and everything, right? And even Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam said, I quote, dream, dream, dream. Dreams transform into thoughts, and thoughts result into actions. So, my good wishes for all of you young lawyers and who are going to join our esteemed profession and have a great inning ahead, good future. And I also thank you, my friend Dhruv Prajapati and its entire team for giving me an opportunity to share my little knowledge with all you young advocates going to be advocates. And I thank you, Dhruv, and thank you very much. If anybody has anything to ask on the negotiation, they're welcome.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir, for the session. If anyone has any questions, we have like, sir, how much minutes we have for the Q&A?
We can have about 5 to 7 minutes, because it's about, I have to
Yeah.
be leaving it.
Okay, so we have around 5 to 7 minutes. If anyone has any questions, they can ask them right away by turning on their mic, or they
Or
can.
otherwise, Dhruv, everybody is welcome. If anybody has anything, they are always welcome to contact me or to call me during our free times. We can or they can send me a message. I'm happy to share whatever knowledge we have with our young friends, because they are our future, right? So we have already spent more than 35 years. So tomorrow they will be the persons who would be leading the nation. So whatever best we can give to them, they are always welcome, anytime, through you or any.
Right, sir.
Thank you, Dhruv.
Yes, thank you, sir. So I guess, sir, I'll be sharing the contact details of sir in the group itself.
Yeah,
And
sure.
then maybe you people can reach out to him for Q&As. And I guess we'll be ending the session now because sir is running late as well.
No. If somebody has a problem, and I'm sorry, because today it was a holiday and I was at home, so sitting in a cozy room. So we did all this thing in a hurry up.
Yeah, sir, no worries. Thanks a lot for sir for the session. I believe it was very informational for all of the law students out here. Super grateful to you for coming to iLegalLearn's platform and conducting this session. Thank you everyone for joining today as well on Sundays, and it's I understand that it's very busy schedule for everyone, and attending on Sundays is a big deal as well. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, sir, for taking this session. And I guess,
please give us a feedback if anything, any improvements are required, because all the young guys they are now more watchful of the things. So
right, sir.
I would welcome all these things through.
Right, sir. Okay, sir. Perfect. Thank you, sir. I'll share you the feedback as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.